Hey guys, welcome back to another Coding Flamingo video. So today we're going to look at 5 GitHub features you probably didn't know existed. Actually, you probably know some of them, but they're still pretty cool, and we're going to take a look at them. So GitHub, we usually look at it as kind of like source control and pull requests, and now with GitHub Actions, you can deploy to Azure, do all your CI/CD. They added boards, which is a good way to organize your project. You can finally have wikis, which is great for new members onboarding. But today we're actually going to look at these 3. So we're going to start with insights. There's one that I just like just because I'm a data nerd. I love looking at code frequency and seeing how much additions and deletions are to your code base. Not really any useful data, but it's really cool to see how much you change your code. I mean, this is a hot dog app, which I did a lot in 1 week and then it was kind of done. We'll probably go back to that app eventually because I really like that app. But now we're going to look at Dependency Graph. So Dependency Graph, they look at your dependencies and the dependencies of those dependencies and so on. So you might not use all these dependencies, but some of your dependencies might use another dependency and so on. And in here it breaks it down by project. So in here we have the client project, the server project, the shared project, and the training project. And as you can see, it has like all the information and then all the dependencies that one has and so on. So you can really go deep to see all your dependencies. Which brings us to another problem. These dependencies might have vulnerabilities that might happen that might make your website or code vulnerable without you knowing. And let's be honest, it's really hard to keep up, and most people don't really update all their dependencies. You're kind of afraid of some code break or something, and you're always looking at the new features. You're never looking at updating the dependencies. So if there's a vulnerability, GitHub actually added Dependabot alerts. So it's enabled by default in all public repos, and if you have a private repo, you can enable it. That it will let you know when a dependency has a problem, a vulnerability, and then you can go ahead and update that dependency. And another thing that it does is you can have dependency updates. So in settings, so they don't show it here, but you have to go here in settings to Dependabot, so security and analysis. So you have the alerts, which is what we talked about, that will send you an alert if you are an admin on the repo. Then we have updates. So basically what this is going to do is GitHub is going to create a pull request doing the update, and you just have to approve it and merge it. So it'll approve it, it will update it to the lowest patched version that will save that vulnerability. So obviously it doesn't do it automatically. Like, it will create the pull request automatically, but it won't change your code. You actually have to approve it, but it saves you some time, so I would encourage you to enable it. So going back to security, the other things that it has security policy. So in here is to let your users know, if this is an open source project or something, how to declare the vulnerabilities and which versions are supported. So in here they kind of give you the template and they tell you which up until which versions like you support, for example, and whether it's a checkbox or an X. And then in here you tell the people how to report vulnerabilities. This is good because like you might not want them to post it as a public thing in issues or something, just because you don't want everybody to know that there's a vulnerability. So you might want them to email the admins or something. But it's important to have a policy. So make sure you set up a policy so people can come here and see which versions you still support and how they can report a vulnerability to you. And then going back to security, in here there's the security advisories. So in here it helps you like talk about the security advisory, and once it's ready you just publish it so everybody can see it, so they can see the different security advisories, which versions are affected and which ones are patched. So this, once again, it just helps everybody know what is the security status of your project. So now, so far we have covered code frequency, dependency graph, security policy, security advisory, and dependency alerts. And I don't know how to count, so we're gonna add a sixth one. This one doesn't have to do with security, but it's more kind of like code hygiene. There's always, going back to the wiki, there's always some rules of like, hey, your pull request has to be approved before it gets merged. There's always that engineer that breaks that rule and merges their code and breaks something. So in here you can actually add branch protection. So like you can have any branch that contains the master or something to require pull request reviews or require certain checks to pass before it gets committed, or required sign commits. So basically it kind of allows you to enforce those rules or just to protect your code. So those are some of the cool features that I use in GitHub that I thought I would share with you guys. If there's one that you use, please feel free to share it in the comments. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.